The LEROY SLAVA podcast. Conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. Good morning, good morning. Trust you're all doing well, you're happy, you're smiling. Welcome to the LEROY SLAVA podcast. My name is LEROY SLAVA, and today we've got a very special guest, Mr. JAMEY CUPIDO. Now so JAMEY is the founder of Kubani Media. He's an expert in communications, in design, okay, and in communications. So we want to find out from JAMEY today, how do we get your brand? How do you get your product? How do you get noticed in this busy world today? So JAMEY's going to guide us through that, because we've got wars, we've got COVID-19, we've got kids at home, we've got wives, it's Twitter, it's TikTok, it's a million things happening. How can you catch attention and hold it so people notice you and notice your brand, your product, and get yourself out there, whatever it is that you do? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome, JAMEY.
Thank you very much, Leroy. It's nice being on your podcast, and a very good morning to everybody else tuning in. Like Leroy said, JAMEY CUPIDO. I'm a communications and design specialist by nature. I think this is something that I've always set out to do since I was small. I just never knew that I'm going to do communications design. I was actually more interested in designing cars, but nonetheless, I stuck through, and I'm still in the design industry today. And look, I'm basically just trying to make a more positive impact through my design. And recently finished varsity, so all of my 3 years of knowledge has been accumulated, and I'm just trying to see where I can fit it into my business, and try and make the most of it, not just for my own business, but also other businesses that are starting up, or medium businesses that are already operational but just need that extra and necessary exposure to reach their audience.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, JAMEY. And I don't know, guys, if you've seen lately that you can see I've got logos now, colors are changing. I've got intros, and the website is coming soon. Hey, JAMEY, you're just waiting for content from me.
Yes, that's correct.
I just
now that you,
yeah, no, go for it.
Now that you're speaking of me waiting for you, that's one of the things that I find imperative, especially for my business, is a lot of the times bigger agencies, they work as an entity on their own. The client just gives them all the content, and the agency needs to make magic of it. But the approach that I take is to continually involve my clients in the project as well. So, because what I found was I can only provide insights and advice based on my technical skills. But essentially, a client usually knows their business best. So by having them working collaboratively with me, as opposed to, I always say I don't work for my clients, I work with them, because I think at the same time it allows me as the service provider.
JAMEY, you've gone there for a while, but in it, I think yeah. So as you guys
learn more about your business.
Sorry, you broke up there for a minute there, JAMEY. Hey, this is a problem. Soon we're gonna have to do it live, hey? Because, by the way, guys, JAMEY is in Appeal, and I know
Yes.
none of y'all know where Appeal is. I'm from South Africa. I'm 37 years old, and I only found out the other day where Appeal is. Brandon Isaacs, how's it, brother? So 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 Jamie lives in Napier. So Jamie, maybe tell these guys where Napier is because I know none of them know where it is as well. You are
Napir
only
is
there's only 10 people in Napier. Um,
Yeah, no, look on a South African scale, we can actually say that there's only 10 people in Apir. It's a very small place. Basically, one of those towns that you just drive through.
where is
You
it?
got
Tell
one you got one main road. So it's off the into as you would go to Agulhas, which is the southernmost point of Africa. Um, and that's also where the two oceans come together, the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. So that's quite interesting. So we have nice warm water over here. But like I said, it's a very small place. You drive through on if you're on your way to the Cape Agulhas, Struisbaai, Arniston, those places. So it's actually more town that was probably constructed around the farms or for the farm workers and the farm owners. Because if I look out of my window, I only see a
what do
lot
you
of
see?
farms. Because uh, there's not a lot of distraction that you would have in comparison to where I stayed in Cape Town. It was constantly busy. Trains, public transport, taxis, sirens, all of those bells and whistles. It's almost like ambience in the background. But at the start, I kind of missed it because it was way too quiet. All I hear birds chirping and cows mooing. So, but but I think after a while, it gives you that inner peace. And I must say, since I moved here, and it's been a month now, my productivity has increased. I'm able to focus a lot better. But I think it's also because now I have only my business to focus on and my studies are complete. So it's been really a great move. And I think the plus side to it is that I'm able to work from anywhere. Uh, and I think that's the reason I also started my own.
That was what I was gonna ask you now. How does
Mm,
that affect your business? Because you're in a Peel, which is a small town, all right? And
mm.
you've done stuff for us for property pick. You've done our designs. You're doing it now for my personal brand, and all these things. You're putting all these things together, and we've never actually met each other, right? Ever.
Yeah, yeah,
We've
but
only met.
soon come, I'll be in Gauteng.
Yeah, and I want to come to Napil. So how is that affected? Is do you don't need to be in an office somewhere where people come in and out all the day, every day to see you personally.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I'm not office bound. So wherever there's internet and power supply, I can always move around and work from anywhere. And I think what actually helped me a lot in establishing myself as an online design agency and not just a walk-in agency. COVID-19, the pandemic, actually played a huge role, and I think that was a concept that I thought of before COVID hit. I always thought to myself, look, I've got the skills, but I don't want to be office bound. I think through my years of working in corporate environments, a lot of the time
The
to your
Wi
money.
your Wi-Fi in Napil is you jumping in and out here.
Yeah, and yeah, so Wi-Fi we haven't got fiber yet,
Is
but
it?
I think it's also because they kind of probably do surveys to see, okay, how many people would be interested in the fiber. So before they actually go ahead and spend thousands on infrastructure, they probably need to have a customer base that they know. Okay, there's going to be a demand for it.
Yeah.
So
And you're saying there's only
through
10 people, so there's no demand.
exactly, and I mean most people here are probably retired or and there's actually quite a lot of artists living here, so whether it's musicians or I came across a few studios that do painting, they do
Mm.
pottery classes. We even have a very a world renowned cheese maker, Jaco van
Brandon says, let's move to Napil. So you broke up
Jelen.
there again. You
He
broke up
has a
there
he has
again.
a cheese shop.
We didn't hear that. Brandon says we should move to Napil. But I think
Yeah, look,
Jamie,
mm,
I think let's get straight into tell us maybe brand versus design, logo. So what would be the best way for someone to say, listen, I want to get my thing out there? Where do you start to say, listen, I want to get my brand out there, I want to get my product out there? Um,
mm.
where do you start? Do you start with a logo? Where do you start with a website? Do you put up your social media platforms? What um, advice would you give us would be the best way to start for guys? Let's say Brandon says, listen, I want to be a pastor and I want to start a church.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to start a name, get a logo, I want to get out there. What would be your advice?
Okay, so essentially to start off, it would basically just require some brainstorming exactly. Um, so if you let's make the example of Brandon. So let's say okay, Brandon is a pastor and he wants to start a ministry, right? So the first thing that we need to figure out is the the three W's. So where do you want to position yourself as a ministry? So if we speak about where, we're not only referring to your physical location of where you want to situate yourself, but where where in the broader context of ministries would you want to position yourself so that people familiarize themselves. So are you looking at being a universal church that welcomes everybody? Because like for me growing up,
Yeah,
I
it's okay. There he's gone. Let's put him back in.
sorry.
Sorry, man. You just jumped out there. Sorry, man. You just jumped out there. But
Okay, so just to
so
backtrack quickly.
yeah, we must. So you were saying that you need to start with the three W's about
Yeah,
where you want your brand to be.
yes.
You
And
want
and then and then the next W would be the why. So why do you want to find yourself, or why do you want to start it? And I think that is most of the time the only W that small businesses focus on is the why. So they identify there's a need in the community. So that is basically where they stop, and they just elaborate on that. So, but you need to consider, so why am I doing this? Where am I going to position myself? But most importantly, what is it that I'm going to do? So by identifying those three W's, the what, the why, and the where, those basically form the basis of how you would start your branding. So branding is very broad actually, because your brand basically speaks for you when you're not available there to tell somebody about your brand. So your brand basically includes everything from your corporate identity, which is your logo, your communication material. So if you're sending emails, are you just using a text-based email signature? Um, More importantly, are you using a professional email? So when I speak of professional email, you're not using Gmail or iCloud or Yahoo. You using a domain that says, okay, this is Brandon's church. So your email address is going to be brandon@brandonschurch.co.za or .com, depending on which preference you have.
I think maybe what we can do is maybe speak about as well what you've been doing. Obviously, we're still in the process, working through a lot of things and
Mm,
putting it
mm.
together, and you helping me clarify exactly where we're going. So maybe, yeah, if you want to, you can. This is where we've used me as an example there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. That I think is a good idea. So yeah, just to give some background, I think we chatted about a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, when we chatted, I asked some important questions. So who are you? What do you want people to recognize about your brand? Um, and those are the important things because we start with a logo. So when you're designing a logo, do we keep it something that is just straightforward? And I think I want to make a cross referencing example here quickly. So if we look at Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola has never changed their logo since the day they put it on their first bottle. So they never changed their color, which is a very unique red that they actually patented. And if you use that red anyway, they can basically sue you to the ground. And I think those are some things that big corporations they take into account, and they actually have finance to secure their brand image. So when we look at the logo, we start from the logo, and I think I developed for the podcast specifically now, I developed a logo based on your existing logo or your existing brand.
Yeah, because
So
I had a logo, but it just didn't say the have the details in that I wanted, or for the podcast.
yes, yes, and I think that is one of the important things because I could have easily said no, we need to do a fully fledged logo that is apart from your brand, that it speaks specifically only to the podcast. But keeping in mind that you don't only do podcasts. So let's say, for instance, in future, you have Leroy Slava property investments, then we've got the basis to say that okay, for the podcast we use the microphone, old school microphone, to indicate that this is a podcast. So we change one single element, but wherever they see the logo, they're going to know that it's a entire brand. So it's almost like Leroy Slava is the main brand, but it has subsidiaries in different areas. So and I think that is how they call it uniform connectedness, to say that your design branding is consistent and uniform throughout all your applications, whether it's a podcast, whether it's property investment, whether it's Leroy Slava as a person on its own. We have the brand is always tied together through a similar design approach. Oh, it just got disconnected. So minimal
Yeah.
elements are changed to retain the brand consistency, but make it uniquely identifiable, to say that okay, this logo has the microphone, so this logo is the podcast. But if we maybe say it's property investment. We might change the microphone to a house or a key.
Yeah.
So yeah, a
So
single element to describe the subsidiary.
okay, that's good. So you're saying to keep it uniformed, if and so wherever they see it, they see that this is that brand, the Leroy Slava.
Exactly,
Whether it be
exactly,
property, whether it be
exactly.
coaching, whether it be the podcast, whether it be another business, that it all flows.
There's always a consistency of your brand, and people will start recognizing and remembering it. So in the case where it's maybe a different logo, people's going to be confused. Is this the same Leroy Slava that's doing property investment, or is this somebody else? So so I think that ties everything together.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Thanks, Jamie. And tell me, how important is it that you are that your that what you put together is who you are? Like, if I had to put together a let's say I put a logo and things together, and it's all formal and suits and ties and but that's not exactly who you are in the real life. Does that make a difference, or can you is it bec- is it important to be authentic to who you really are, or can you put up a like a what's the right look like a front, like say, okay, this I want to put this really formal, be all in three-piece suits and tiki bow ties,
Mm,
but that's not really who you are. What do you
exactly.
what advice would you give someone to that, to say, okay, this is who I am, but this is what I want to put. Is it important to do things the way you are, or can you change it and put out a whole new image of yourself or the brand or whatever it is? I don't know. Does that make sense?
This internet is not nice. Okay, so that's actually a very very important question, and that also comes into play in the first phase of when you want to develop your brand and your corporate identity. Um, so essentially, you want to create a personified brand of yourself, right? So let's say you are the face of your business, then essentially your entire brand will have to resonate that same characteristics that you have as a person. So maybe make an example of my branding. My branding, I don't use corporate like fonts. I use very soft colors, and my communication is very friendly and positive and transparent. So so all of that basically plays a huge role, because at the end of the day, let's say you have a professional logo, your logo looks corporate. It gives the impression that this is a very high end brand. But when they meet your sales staff, or when they speak to one of your representatives, they basically get a different feel to it. So those are the important things to take into account,
Okay. Yeah. You know what's the
is
tricky part with
when
this?
you
Before
develop.
we start, Jamie, sorry, you just broke up there again. Jamie, sorry, man,
Yes,
you just broke up there again. I think the Wi-Fi. Do you have another connection there that you can jump onto? And the fun part with this is when we test it before the podcast, everything always works nicely. And when we get onto it, then
I hope this connection is going to be better.
okay. Let's see what
uh
Brandon says.
are
Brandon
we
says,
live?
"Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you now." But it's okay. Let me see, read Brandon's one. He says, "Okay, Jamie, I'm not becoming a pastor anytime soon. However, so he says, however, we do run a financial services business. We have a static website and a non-responsive Facebook page. We understand the
Mm.
potential social media holds and want to be part of that space. What strategy would you advise us to implement in order to be more visible and interactive with our clientele on social platforms and possibly acquire new prospects? Can you see that? Can you see the question there, Jamie?
Yes, yes. Okay. So yeah, I think financial services. If if you say it's a static website and non-responsive Facebook page, so those are basically the platforms that we would use to represent our companies. So if you say it's a static website, is it just a normal website that just displays information? And I think though that is one of the important things that needs to also be asked. So taking it step by step to say, okay, first we develop your brand, your corporate identity, set the tone and the personality of your brand. Once you've got that, it's basically like a tree and it's just going to branch to various platforms and applications which will always tie everything together. So let's say for instance the website. So we need to then identify, okay, why do I want a website? What is going to be the purpose of the website? And I always make it a point to say that look at it from the perspective of a potential customer or potential client. What would they want? What would they want to find on your website that makes your website resourceful? So if it's, let's take the example of Brandon, if it's a financial service business, then that basically means that that website needs to provide up to date information about the financial industry. So whether it is people that are looking to invest, whether it's people that are looking to just manage their money better, uh, if it's somebody that has financial troubles. So those are just three aspects that I can think of from the top of my head to say, okay, we need to target these three different groups to say, okay, we provide financial services in terms of making sure that you're investing in the right place. So how do we communicate that over? Then that's where content development comes in. So speaking the right tone to the right people and having more than enough call to actions to say that, okay, do you need financial assistance? Click here. So now we start introducing into the interactivity of your web platform. So so people can fill in a form and give them idea, okay, if you fill in the form we're going to contact you back. So
Mm,
and it's very important that we also look at it from that, even though your business can speak vast volumes, at the end of the day, we still people that need to engage in order to make a business transaction happen. So that again is where your brand identity comes in, is that the tone that you set. So if somebody calls and they distressed over their financial situation, financial services needs to be compassionate to say, yes, we understand what you are going through and we are here to help you through it. If somebody's looking to invest, very same thing. Yes, we are very excited to have you on board. Let's see how we can make your investment grow. So positive messaging every time. And I think that is also where brand consistency comes in. Is to make sure that whatever it is that you communicate, if put it on your website and use your social media platforms to then direct traffic back to your website. So let's say for instance running a blog. Blogs are, they probably one of the things that people find outdated, much like email marketing, but that is where credibility lies, because I read an article the other day about social media, and especially this Ukraine-Russia conflict. Social media is basically being used to spread misinformation. So how much trust can you actually put into your into a business, and you solely want to run it off a Facebook page? Yes, it allows you access to millions of viewers, but where's the credibility in it? Where do you find that people's going to trust your brand if you only have a Facebook page? So that is where we direct traffic back to your website, because now your website provides the platform for credibility.
Yeah.
It's your number one hub for resources. So whether it's up to date information, whether it's how to videos, anything like that, that is where you basically start.
Oh,
So
so sorry,
mm,
Jamie, just jump in there. So are you saying that your social media is just a place to drive clients and people basically to the website? And
yes.
so Brandon is saying, yeah, he's saying, what strategy would you advise us to implement in order to be more visible? All right. So
Mm,
on social media, and he's also saying, okay, understood. So what are the steps to put a brand identity in place? Where do we start? So I think let's transition into social media. So because
yes.
social
Yes.
media, we all it's a cheap, effective way of getting your brand out there, getting your product out there, right? But
Yeah.
now, what do we use? Because we have looked at, we've got now, I don't know how many, but we've got a lot of social media platforms. We've
Too
got
many.
Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok now, which is the big one, the up and coming
Mm,
big one. We've got Twitter, we've got Snapchat, which I've never been onto. We've got WhatsApp. If you can maybe take us through the different platforms and what you advise they be used for, because I've got this thing now. I like Facebook more. I don't like
mm,
Instagram because you have to take photos all the time. TikTok is for those little videos, which is a lot of work. Where you have to
mm.
dance and make music and do all these things in that. And then you have Twitter. So maybe for Brandon's sake and for my sake as well, if you can take us
Yeah.
through what platforms would be the best use for what?
Okay. That's actually a very great question. And yeah, I think social media has become part of our daily lives, whether we like it or not. That's one of those things where we also go to 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 speak anonymously. And I think that is one of the downsides to having social media platforms. But to speak of the positives, so let's say, for instance, you're starting a brand, right? So now you have to put together, okay, where do I want people to find me? And what information am I presenting to them on those platforms? So, like we all know, Facebook is it was first started as a platform where people can reach each other. And then with the introduction of Facebook pages, it became a platform where businesses can reach each other. But how we communicate on Facebook compared to how we're communicating on Twitter, how we're communicating on Instagram, and what we're doing on TikTok and LinkedIn and all of those platforms, they need to be looked at separate platforms, and not whatever I put on Facebook, I'm just going to put on Instagram as well, and I'm just going to put it on LinkedIn. All of those that can
That's what
work,
I
but
that's what I
but
do, eh? If I post one thing, I'll post it to Facebook. I'll post that same thing to Instagram. I'll post
yeah,
it to if it's a work thing, I'll post it to LinkedIn. I'll post it to Twitter. And
yes,
then I'll leave my social media for the day, and then I'll come back later and just check it, comment, and that's me done for the day on social media.
yeah. No, and that's the approach that many people take. It's just whatever I put on this platform, I'm just going to copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But essentially, when we look at LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a professional platform for businesses, all right? Not
Mhm.
only for enterprises, but for yourself as a professional in an industry. LinkedIn, I know, has been sought for 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 a lot of recruitment agencies. That is, LinkedIn is basically your online resume.
Yeah.
So basically, what you advertise on LinkedIn will be more business focused as opposed to what you're posting on Instagram. Instagram is something that basically is a storytelling through pictures. So let's make a quick example. There's a financial services. Let's stick to the financial services. So on Facebook, we want people to reach us easily. So Facebook allows you to add your website address, contact numbers, and all of those things. So whatever we're putting on Facebook needs to always direct us back to the website. But
Okay.
now what we're putting on Instagram, Instagram is pictures and short videos. So that is where we take advantage to say, okay, I want to show somebody how to be financially savvy in a 30-second clip.
Mm.
That is where you use Instagram. So you always have that repository of all your media files, and they're consistent, but your message on each platform would be different. So Facebook links you to a blog article to say, okay, this is a written article to say these are the steps that you need to take for financial freedom, making an example.
Mm.
On Instagram, we're going to show people what financial freedom looks like. Happy
Lifestyle.
people,
So,
people
so
laughing,
are you saying
lifestyle. Yes,
the lifestyle, you sell the lifestyle on Instagram and the
exactly.
information on Facebook?
Yes. That's correct. So the two needs to correspond in a way where the information we're presenting on Facebook is going to be visually backed by the photos we put on Instagram.
Mm.
And if you want to read more in depth about what our business services include, check out our LinkedIn page because that is where all our credible information resides. But at the end of the day, holistically, if you want credibility and trust, go have a look at our website. So
Okay.
communication is always going to be uniform across all of those platforms. So let's make an example. There's a business masterclass uh, that Brandon wants to advertise and promote. So on Facebook, we're going to promote the event because Facebook allows us to do it. So we're promoting an event, getting more people's engagement. On Instagram, we're going to show them this is the event. These are the people that's going to be speaking there.
Mm.
On LinkedIn, we're going to do the exact same that we do on Facebook, but keeping in mind that there's different audiences on all three of those platforms.
Mm.
So and that is where it becomes very important is posting day to day. Yes, it works for some people because you're just posting what's on your mind. But if you want a thought out process, you develop a social marketing strategy to say,
Mm.
okay, this is how we're going to advertise our things on Facebook. We're going to run campaigns for the next 3 months. So then we know, okay, for the next 3 months, we're able to run Facebook ads and we can target a specific audience. On Instagram, we're going to show people every time, remind them who's the speakers. And I think that is something important that we also need to discuss is influencer marketing. It's something, I won't say that it's something new. I think influencer marketing just got a new name
Mm.
because if we look at it years back, uh, I think Halle Berry was the face of L'Oreal or Maybelline or something. Those were the time of TV
You will,
advertisements.
you will remember in very,
But you see, so they were doing it at that time, and it was working because people associate with famous icons.
Mhm.
Um, and what they did was taking influence or taking what was already existing, giving it a new name, and just pushing it aggressively. So now you've got influencer marketing left, right, and center, and I think it's how what you mentioned in the introduction is everything is overpopulated. Everybody's got access to information, but how are you going to or how are you going to grab the attention of your viewers or of your potential customers? And influencer marketing has really impacted that a lot. And I think that is why influencers can charge up to 30,000 rand for just 1 minute of FaceTime.
Is it? That's why I
And
want to become an influencer, eh? So I can start charging people to post stuff. Um,
exactly.
so Jamie, quick one. So if we go to social media, so you're saying, okay, so let's say you've got an event, or let's use myself. Let's say I'm into
Mm,
property, I'm investing, I do some coaching, I've got some other things around property. So let's say, so I'll put out property. Okay, this is what we're doing in the property space on Facebook. But then you say you take photos, um, you put the lifestyle on. So this is this on Instagram. It shows you, okay, this is the lifestyle that property allows you to have.
yes,
Investing in
exactly.
property. So the
Yeah.
information is on Facebook.
Mm,
The showing, okay, this is what that allows you on Instagram. On LinkedIn, there's more professionals and business people, so you can actually target direct people. I've seen that
exactly.
if you want on Facebook, you get a lot of time wasters if you're selling something.
Too much.
You get a lot of people that waste time on Facebook, and then on on Instagram, it's more difficult to target because I saw Instagram post goes around the world. You'll find people from Nigeria, people from India
Mm, mm,
seeing your stuff, where you potentially want to target more direct people in appeal.
yeah,
And then if you want people to buy, you can more directly target people in according to what they do on LinkedIn. Am I understanding that
exactly.
correctly?
That is 100% correct. Yes. So I think the important thing to take out of it is understanding each platform for the intended use. Just a sideline. TikTok was developed as a social platform as a rival to Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
So Snapchat and TikTok has very much the same similarities. The only difference is I think with Snapchat your video disappears after 24 hours. So that was something that people used to post something and tomorrow it's gone.
Yeah.
So what TikTok actually did, and this was actually something that aided in the pandemic when a lot of people were in lockdown. So just to cure their boredom, their whole strategy behind it was we using this platform so that people can present information to one another. But what happened after a while was TikTok started becoming infiltrated with silly people and all of those things. And nowadays you see people doing really ridiculous stuff on TikTok. Um, and there's basically no age restriction to it. So if you download the TikTok app, you don't need to create an account to scroll through the timeline, and you basically present it with anything and everything based on what you search for on the internet.
Mm.
So your analytical information is always being distributed across all of these platforms. um, and their whole idea was that they're going to incentivize people that promote positive information. some learning and stuff like that. So TikTok was developed with that in mind, that you will get incentivized if you're willing to promote something good. Let's say, for instance, sustainability. I know a lot of people lost jobs during this pandemic, so people started doing short videos on how to do a home garden, how to grow your vegetables at home, some DIY things to keep yourself busy with, but also allow you to build functional items that would have costed you thousands of rands in the shop. And those people got incentives based on that. But just like any other platform, people started doing things for the likes and the follows. And next thing you know, you see some guy doing some adverts for budget insurance, or they doing something for Checker 6060. That's because now they've got 100,000 followers on TikTok. So companies are using it to their advantage. So they basically change the whole perception of the platform to work for them. And I think now people are just going all out to reach as much followers as possible. And once a big brand sees them, hire you, you just advertise my product for a few weeks and we pay you, because now we know 100,000 people are going to see my product. So it's always about looking at what is the potential of each social media platform and how will it work to the best
of
for
your
my
brand.
business.
Mm. Yes, because I think that's key, because I think otherwise we get desperate for likes and followers, and as you said, people are
Exactly.
doing crazy things. So now, let's say on TikTok, people are doing funnier things. They're jumping from roofs, and
Yeah.
people are dancing. Women are getting more naked. Um,
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. People are doing so. So you need to, if I understand you correctly, you need to understand what message you want to get out there, right?
Exactly.
And then you need to
Exactly.
choose a platform for what for the audience that you want to reach. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And because I don't know, and what I've noticed as well is because what a few of my friends on TikTok, probably guys, accountants talking about tax,
Mm.
and they're getting a lot of followers. They're getting
Yeah.
the followers, they're getting more followers than they're getting a lot more followers quicker than what they do on the other platforms.
Exactly.
I don't know
Exactly.
how it works. I posted a few videos, but then I realized my videos are too long and they're too boring.
Yeah.
I don't have music and I don't have things. So they're too long and they're too boring. So I need to cut them to about under 1 minute to about 30 seconds is to really get, because people's attention spans are shorter nowadays. They don't want to read long stuff, they don't want to watch long videos, they don't want to. It's like this podcast on
Mm.
Facebook. People will watch people now, these people will watch it that are live, and a few people will watch it afterwards, but you'll find
Mm.
they'll watch the intros, or they skip it. The long form, they'll watch it more on
On
YouTube
YouTube. Yeah.
than what they would. So Facebook, your videos from 2 minutes to 10 minutes to 20 minutes get a lot of views. The longer ones don't. the
Yes.
longer the
Yes.
longer videos get more traction on YouTube. And then on Instagram too, it also has to be quite short. And TikTok, as I said, you need to teach me how to make a TikTok video. I don't know. I actually don't desire to. It looks like a lot of
I
work.
Me neither. Because you see what most of the people do. But wait, to just quickly answer to respond on what you said about how to write content short but impactful.
Yeah.
Twitter, the best platform for that. And you'll notice that a lot of businesses are more focused on Twitter than what they are on Facebook, because Twitter only allows you a certain amount of characters to say what you want to say.
So you can't say a lot of nonsense.
Indirectly, they basically learning you how to start writing creative hooks to get people to engage and click on that link.
Mm.
And you see, with video content, a lot of people, they try to explain something in the quickest manner, but they always provide a link. But what we sometimes read, and I think Twitter increased the word count, but you can still add images to it as well. But that was the plus side to using Twitter, is the limitation of the amount of characters you can use. So it teaches you some creative writing skills to say, I need to get people's attention by only using 30 characters. Like 30
Mm.
characters is very short.
Mm. That's
So
difficult. And if you're not a
it's
writer, or
difficult.
you're not a, or you understand, or you're not as witty and quick with these things, it's actually quite difficult. It's not a.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's each platform has its advantages and disadvantages, and I think I have to agree with what Glenel Carola says about there's a lot of distractions on Facebook,
Mm.
and those are one of the I always make this example. So I'm going to cross reference with property.
Yeah.
So imagine a situation like this. So, and I think this will also respond to the previous comment Glenel put on as well. So, I would like to know if I should get a professional to design my website, or can I use these free website builders, and the pros and cons of each. Okay, so essentially, let's look at it from this perspective. A young couple wants to buy a house, right? So I'll just make it, there's two options. You can rent an apartment in a complex or a security building, or you can buy your own house and pay a bond, right? So website builders, they have their pros and their cons. But here's the catch. A website builder allows you to quickly and easily put together a website. You've got Wix, you've got Squarespace, you've got Weebly, and a whole bunch of other platforms. You can quickly build a website. But then your website is mywebsite.wix.com. So indirectly, you are promoting Wix, and every visitor that comes to your website counts as analytical information for Wix and not for you as the person who built the website, right? So that's the free plan. They say, no, you can design a website for you, template based. So, what are the chances that your website is going to look exactly the same as somebody else's website on the other side of South Africa? There's a 50-50 chance, actually a 60-40, because now you present it with a set of templates that you can use, and that's basically what there is. All you need to do is you change your logo, change your content, add some images, but it's the cost effective method. But now they say, okay, do you want your personalized domain? Now you have to subscribe for $29. $29 is about 300 to 400
Yeah.
rand,
I'm
right?
16, 17.
So you have a platform and everything. Now you've got your own personal domain, uh, but you are not in charge of it. So that is, and that is what I how I make the comparison to say, okay, so if you're going to rent an apartment in a security complex, then you are going to use Wix, Squarespace, all of those platforms. But now you want to buy your own house, know that you are in control of everything. But that comes with some thought behind it to say, okay, I have saved up enough money to put down a deposit and cover my bond for the next 12 months. Similar
Mhm.
approach you can take to when you want to set up your brand, get everything together, figure out, okay, what budget can I allocate to developing my brand and putting it out on every platform that I want customers to reach me on. Then
Mm.
you know now you've got a solid idea. Okay, this is how much it's going to cost, but all of this is my idea. It's my work. And that is where it comes back to working with clients and not for clients, is because at the end of the day, I want my clients to feel that they were part of this entire process and they can be proud to speak about their brand because there's a bit of them in the brand as well. Whether it's a small little icon, they can say, that was my idea. I worked with my developer and that was my idea. So you become more proud of what it is that you put out to the world. And I think that is what most of us need to do, is to be proud of our brands. Personify it in the way that you want to spread it to the whole world. And if people ask you about it, you need to be excited about it every time. So so you're not basically just going to regurgitate what I said. No, your brand is this professional brand. This is the kind of style that we look for, and I think, or we think, this is the best approach to take. Because when we say we think, we basically thought about it in our own isolation to say, okay, guys, let's put our minds together as a lot of creatives. But none of us have an interest in financial business or construction or anything. But we're just going to grab some ideas out of the air and say, this is what that industry is about because we're referencing competitors.
No,
And,
that's
and
good
I
stuff.
think and I think that is also very important, is when we look at competitor research, is not to look at what they are doing, is to look at how are they reaching their customers, what message are they putting out. Whether they have a flashy, stylish website, sometimes people are looking for function. So they want to see, how can I get information the quickest way possible. Sometimes visually appealing websites, yes, they do. They are very important to be visually enticing. But at the end of the day, you can have the most beautiful website, but then your customers don't know how to navigate it, or they don't know where to find the information that they're looking for, because your communication on the website is or not distracting, but confusing. So there again, and I think that's where we work together on your content, is to say, how can we put it in a way that whoever reads it with instructional form. So not to
Awesome
just say,
stuff there. Sorry, Jamie, if I can.
yes,
I think, yeah. So we're coming to an hour now. So I just want you to where people can get a hold of you before. Um, so thanks, man. I think that's good information. So if I can,
mm,
if I got it right and can summarize, it's where, what do you want to do? Why do you want to do? And who's your target market?
exactly,
And then
exactly,
what you want to do is you want to work with a professional like yourself to say, okay, this is what I want to do. Then you work on the design, work on the website, work on the branding,
exactly,
what that is
yes,
going to look like, your identity, and then you want to identify who's your target market, and that determines which platforms you are going to target, because you can't do all of them. It's just
yes,
and initially, I think, because it takes, you need quite a big budget to get a social media company on board
definitely,
when you're starting out. So some of
definitely,
it you might have to start it out individually doing it, and get the design from Jamie, but and then target the platforms correctly. But I think what
yeah,
I've also noticed, Jamie, is you know what? Sometimes try stuff. I don't know, test things on different platforms and see what the response is. Put a long video on TikTok and you'll see that doesn't work. put
yeah,
a whatever it is on a lot of words on Instagram and you don't get a lot of likes.
mm,
Yeah, and you can only put 2-minute videos on Twitter. You on LinkedIn, people really, LinkedIn, I'm actually just testing, putting stuff on and seeing what people like and what people don't like. But Jamie,
exactly,
thanks for joining. Sorry. You
and
understand?
that's how you start building your audience to respond to what it is that they react on. So it's like they say, for every action there's a reaction. So we basically use that reaction and use it to the advantage of our communication strategy. So if people are going to write a lot of comments regarding this podcast, then okay, next time I might look at going into detail about each of these topics.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that's a good strategy when we do video, is create one long 10-minute video and break that 10-minute video up into 5 or 2-minute
yes,
segments
yes.
that you can then subject to say, okay, this is the first video and it goes about design. I think something that we forgot, that we didn't get to touch on, is the IDA principles. And that's basically the foundation to every marketing strategy. Is how do you first get the attention? And so it's AIDA. So how do you get the attention? How do you keep the interest? Then out of that, you need to create a desire that somebody wants to use that product. And how are we going to action it? So what do we want people to do once they find out, or once they see the ad? uh, let's make a good example quickly of Coca-Cola. They've got various types of Coca-Cola. So they got the Coke Zero, right? So they grab your attention to say no sugar. So it's a typographical element, but it's zero sugar. So
Mm,
that's how they grab your attention. And now they need to keep you interested. So they're going to tell you, okay, how we're going to interest you is you're going to drink Coca Cola. It's going to taste exactly the same, but you're not drinking any sugar.
mm.
So what's the desire behind it? Is that people know sugar is actually not good for you, but sugar is very nice. so
Okay.
so
And the
that's the
A,
desire.
what's I
So
that?
so
What is
so
the
you're
and the A was?
promoting. Say again.
And the A was AIDA
And the last A is the action. So
action.
what do you want them to do? The next thing you want them to do is grab your Coke Zero.
Yeah,
So and people know that Coke is available in every shop that you find. There will be a Coca-Cola, because they reinforce their brand through saying, okay, you've got a spaza, I'm going to do your signage for you as long as I got a Coke fridge in your store. I'll
yeah.
put up
No,
your signage,
mm.
everything.
Jamie, we're gonna have to, but I think that's enough
It's
information. Thanks, man. IDA.
a pleasure.
So it's attention, interest, desire, and
Yeah,
action. That's a good
exactly.
principle. I think I'm gonna look at that as well. So, Jamie, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Thanks for logging in.
Thank
As I
you.
said, like this, share this. I'll show you. Jamie will be finished with my website. I'll probably send you the information, all the information by tomorrow. I will
Yes,
send you
please.
by tomorrow all the information you need, and then it'll probably
Mm,
be up, I think, before the end of the week, by next week.
yeah.
And then what we can do, guys, next week I'll give you a link. You can check the website out. So, Jamie, where do we contact you? Someone says I want to set up my design, my website. I want to do all of this. Where do we get a hold of you?
Okay, yeah. So I am on all platforms. Although I don't use social media to that extent as I use it for my clients. I am on Facebook, Kubani Media. So it's KOEBANI Media. Um, I have my website is also in the progress of completion. Um, and I'm on WhatsApp as well, 082 742 0118. So it's a professional business WhatsApp account, and I think that's one of the things that we also need to look at as people that's starting their business or want to improve their communication. If you've got a WhatsApp, opt to maybe change it to a WhatsApp business account if need be. I think there's a way that you can now have two WhatsApp accounts. So get that extra SIM card, register the number, create a business account on it, and at all times, if people send you a WhatsApp, you can communicate professionally. So always about taking that consistency wherever you're communicating. Make sure that your logo is always present, your brand message is always present, and yeah, keep the tone and the personality.
Awesome stuff, guys. Thank you, Jamie.
Awesome.
Bless
Thank you so much for
joining us.
everybody tuning in.
Yeah, that IDA principle is powerful, and I think you gave us a lot of good nuggets. But I think, guys, contact Jamie to set up your set up all your websites, your information. He can guide you. He does amazing work. And Jamie, can we put the details in the comment section afterwards? All the
Yes,
details, that your company details, your WhatsApp, and your contact details for people to get a hold of you.
most definitely. Most definitely.
Awesome stuff. So, guys, God bless. Join in next week. And then see you next week. Chat soon. Cheers, eh?
Awesome. Thanks. Take care.
Bye bye.